Yesterday, while I was angrily excoriating the vile revelations about Barack Obama from the latest volume of his apparently endless memoir, A Promised Land, I mistakenly attributed a famous quote from one of my favorite revolutionary thinkers and authors, Paulo Freire, to another one of my favorite revolutionary thinkers and authors, Frantz Fanon. Now, Fanon wrote in Black Skin, White Masks that the oppressed will always believe the worst about themselves. Freire, not Fanon, is the author of the seminal work Pedagogy of the Oppressed. Works from both of these revolutionary intellectuals are just as timely and important today as they were when they were published, and I encourage you all to read them. Unintentional misattribution aside, I still don't see how Barack Obama could have read anything from Fanon and went on to become the neoliberal imperialist warmonger that he joked about being, which was revealed in another book called Double Down by journalist Mark Halperin that was published in 2013. Apparently, during a discussion about drone strikes, Obama joked to an aide that he was really good at killing people. He made a joke about killing people. Wow. Is this y'all's hero? But you know what? Fanon also explained cognitive dissonance in his book, Black Skin, White Masks, too. So that explains a lot. Now, the outrage for today is, of course, the crazy pants crusade by the cult of Trump to stall the inevitable change of figureheads for the American empire. Now, listen, you know that we understand that regardless of which one of these old white dudes are president, the empire will operate largely along the same trajectory around the world and domestically. Trump wants to bomb Iran, and while Biden may not do that, Biden won't lift any sanctions on Iran either. Trump extended U.S. sanctions on Zimbabwe that were imposed in 2002 when Mugabe was president, and Biden probably won't lift them either. Trump imposed more sanctions on Venezuela. Biden probably won't lift them since, according to him, Maduro, that's what he calls Maduro, is a thug or whatever. Trump didn't provide Americans any ongoing material assistance during this pandemic, and Biden isn't going to get PPE and material relief to us either. If you're poor now, you'll still be poor under Biden. If the police are terrorizing your community now, they'll get more money to do it and some sensitivity training to teach them to shoot you in the leg instead of, I guess, in the back under Biden. But it's this kind of amusingly wacky entertainment that I really am enjoying. Watching Rudy Giuliani sweat out his Just for Men on national television as he imitates Joe Pesci in My Cousin Vinny while claiming that the poll observers were too far away from the ballot counters in Pennsylvania to see. I don't know what they were supposed to see. And I'm not convinced that Giuliani knows what they were supposed to see either. It was weird, but really amusing watching Sidney Powell claim that the long-dead Hugo Chavez was responsible for the software that's used in election machines that weren't used very widely at all, that switch votes from Trump to Biden in this election. No. And China did something, and then Cuba did something else, but I don't know what they were supposed to have done. And you know what? Neither does Sidney Powell. It's weird, but it was incredibly amusing watching that press conference, because how is it not amusing to see people willing to stand up in front of national television cameras and make this big of a mess of their lives and their reputations? It's also more than amusing to watch the liberal pundits on the alphabet soup networks grow increasingly horrified at Trump's attempts to destroy democracy and stage a coup with these lawsuits, and breathlessly wonder if he can steal the election by threatening the people who are supposed to certify the elections, or kidnapping appointed electors, or just saying over and over again that there was widespread voter fraud and that by some dark magic, the governors in each state that Trump wants the election results to be overturned will be compelled by the power of Satan, I guess, to burn the election certification documents in a ritual that will unleash the Antichrist upon the world. And surprise, it's Donald Trump. I mean, that's funny and it's ridiculous and it's amusing, but so is all of this mess. And I know that people are afraid that somehow Trump won't actually leave the White House amid all of this, that somehow he'll find a way to stick around and you'll never get your President Biden to make you feel like this government doesn't hate you and wants you dead anymore. But I hate to break it to you, this government does hate you. Biden is just going to deliver that news with a smile and a folksy story about corn pop. No, for me, all of this thing that is the most disturbing for a whole lot of people, that the fact that Trump won't go away, maybe he won't. But for me, the most disturbing thing out of all of this is not Trump. It's all the people along the way who've always been willing to go along with his ridiculousness, not just the regular folks who voted for and love Trump and are convinced that he actually won the election against all evidence and facts. And they believe that only because he said so. But I'm talking about the cops, the sheriffs, the judges, the lawyers, city council members, board of election workers, state legislators, governors, senators, congressmen, and any and everyone who has a position of power and influence who could have all stood up and said, nope, not going along with this foolishness, not just with the election, but long before now, but who didn't want to anger their emperor and who continued to go along with this three-ring circus instead. And I am so sorry. I apologize profusely to circuses for that analogy, because circuses are great. Sure, Trump is bad. But you do realize that Trump could not be as bad as he is without a whole phalanx of enablers and hangers-on and sycophants who have made his ascension to power possible and who are still enabling his comically and shamefully desperate attempt to hold on to power as many ways and as long as possible, from the ICE and Border Patrol agents and judges who could have at any time refused any of those horrible orders, to the press secretaries who chose to lie to defend every Trump lie, to the preachers and the pastors who quoted scriptures to their congregations to justify the hatred and immorality of their white supremacist savior. All of these people are just as responsible for what Trump is doing right now, but they're all being let off the hook because Trump is the train wreck that everyone is watching. That train, though, has lots of cars. What are we going to do about them after Trump finally leaves the station? Follow Luqman Nation on patreon.com/LuqmanNation for lots of great content.